Physiology of hearing. Physiology of hearing, it explains various mechanisms behind the hearing process. It explains the reception of the sound waves by various parts of the ear and perception of various properties of the sound at the higher cortex. Physiology of hearing, it includes sound waves and their properties, conduction of the sound waves from external and the middle ear into the internal part of the ear, transduction of the sound energy in organ of corti through various receptor cells, hair cells, neural transmission of the signals through the auditory pathway, and central processing of signals in auditory cortex. So let us begin with the sound waves and their properties. Stimuli for receptor of hearing are sound waves. Sound is form of energy which is produced by vibrating object. Sound wave consists of alternating phases of compression and rarefaction of molecules in medium in which it travels. Speed of sound waves in the air at sea level, it travels at the rate of the 330 meter per second at 0 degrees centigrade. With the increase in the temperature up to 20 degrees centigrade, the velocity of sound wave increases up to 340 meter per second. Now the speed of the sound is more in water in comparison to air. In the water, sound wave travel at the speed of 1450 to 1500 meter per second. Even in the water, sound travels at much faster speed in salt water in comparison to fresh water. With increase in the temperature and altitude, sound velocity increases. Amplitude or intensity of sound. Amplitude is the strength which determines the loudness of sound. Intensity of sound is measured in terms of the maximum pressure change at the level of the tympanic membrane, which is commonly expressed in terms of the sound pressure level. The unit of intensity is bell. Bell is equal to log of intensity of given sound divided by intensity of reference sound. Now the intensity of sound is directly proportional to the square of sound pressure. That's why bell is equal to 2 log of the pressure of given sound divided by pressure of reference sound. Now what is reference sound? Reference sound, that is just detectable sound, which is also known as auditory threshold, and the reference pressure is 0.0002 dynes per meter square, that is also known as 0 decibel. 1 decibel is equal to 1 divided by 10 bell or zero point 0.1 bell. Amplitude of the reference sound is 0 decibel, and in comparison to the reference sound, the whispering sound has the amplitude of 10 to 30 decibel. In our day-to-day life, normal conversation, they take place at the amplitude of around 40 to 60 decibel. Rock music has the amplitude of 80 to 100 decibel. Now, when the amplitude increases from 100 to 120 decibel, it produces discomfort in the ear, and the amplitude of 120 to 140 decibel, it can produce pain in ear. Frequency of sound waves. These are the number of waves per second. Single frequency sound is called pure tone, and a complex sound is mixture of pure tones. The unit of frequency is hertz. Now in human being, the range of the human hearing is from 20 to 20,000 hertz but the range of the average speaking voice is usually between 2000 to 5000 Hz. Pitch is subjective sensation which is produced by frequency of the sound waves. In the male voice, usually frequency is 120 Hz. So because of the low frequency, the male voice is low frequency, low pitch sound. And in the female voice, frequency is more than the male voice. It is about 250 Hz. So that's why in the female voice it is a high frequency, high pitch sound. Single frequency sound is known as pure tone, and a complex sound is a mixture of pure tones. The lowest frequency at which a source vibrates is called fundamental or primary frequency, and multiples of the fundamental frequency are called overtone or harmonics. The overtone determines the quality or the timbre of sound. Variation in the quality or timbre permit us to identify the sound of the various musical instruments even though they are playing notes of the same pitch. Here in this figure we can see the A wave. It is record of a pure tone. B has a greater amplitude and it is louder than A. C has the same amplitude but more frequency and its pitch is higher. D is a complex wave that is regularly repeated. Such patterns they are perceived as musical sound, whereas waves like that is shown in E which have no regular pattern are perceived as noise. Auditory receptors they are present in organ of corti of inner ear. So the conduction of the sound is necessary from the external and middle ear up to inner ear where receptors are present. Role of external ear in the conduction of the sound waves. Pinna. It collects and reflects sound waves to the middle ear, and external auditory canal it conducts sound waves to the tympanic membrane. Tympanic membrane it is situated between the external ear and middle ear. Tympanic membrane acts as a pressure receiver. It is extremely sensitive to change in the sound pressure. It starts vibrating with a change in the sound pressure in the external auditory canal, and this vibration ceases with the end of the sound. From the tympanic membrane, this pressure energy it is transmitted to the ear ossicles. Conduction of the sound wave occurs from external ear and middle ear into the inner ear where receptors are situated. External ear and the middle ear they are the air-filled cavities, and inner ear it is filled with fluid. Now whenever sound energy it is transmitted from the air-filled external ear and middle ear into the fluid-filled inner ear, most of the sound energy it is reflected back because of the difference in the mechanical properties of air and fluid. So to prevent this loss of the energy because of the difference in the mechanical properties of the air and fluid, there are specialized mechanisms present in our ear and they are known as impedance matching mechanism. So this impedance is the resistance and matching mechanism which decreases the resistance which is offered by fluid in the inner ear. And these impedance matching mechanisms they are performed by lever action of ossicle and hydraulic actions of tympanic membrane. First the lever action of the ossicle. Sound energy from the tympanic membrane it is conducted to three ossicles malleus, incus and stapes. Handle of the malleus it is 1.3 times longer than the long process of incus. So when the sound energy it is transmitted from malleus to incus because of this lever action there is 1.3 times magnification of the sound energy occurs. So that's why it is known as lever action of ossicle. The hydraulic action of the tympanic membrane it is because of the difference in the surface area of the tympanic membrane and the footplate of stapes. Surface area of the tympanic membrane is about 45 millimeters square and surface area of the footplate of the stapes is 3.2 millimeters square. So sound energy it is transmitted from this large surface area of the tympanic membrane to the small surface area of the footplate of the stapes. So sound energy is concentrated from large surface area to the small surface area. So the area ratio is 14:1. So there is 14 time magnification of the sound energy occurs because of this difference in the surface area. So lever ratio is 1.3:1. So there is 1.3 time magnification of the sound energy because of the lever action. And area ratio is 14:1. So there is 14 time magnification because of the difference in the surface area. And this total transformer ratio is equal to 14 multiplied 1.3 is equal to 18:1. So there is total 18 time magnification of the sound energy occurs when it is conducted from tympanic membrane to the footplate of the stapes, and this mechanism is known as impedance matching mechanism. Sound below 60 Hz or above 20,000 Hz, they are not amplified at all, and amplification of the sound intensity is greatest between 1000 to 3000 Hz. This forms the basis of the minimum audibility curve. So the minimum audibility curve is a standardized graph of the threshold of hearing frequency for an average human and is used as the reference level when measuring hearing loss with an audiometer. Natural resonance of external and middle ear. External and middle ear allow certain frequency of the sound to pass more easily to the inner ear. It is due to anatomical and the physiological properties, and the greatest sensitivity of the sound transmission is between 500 to 3000 Hz. That is the frequency which is used during day-to-day normal conversation. So the natural resonance of the tympanic membrane is from 800 to 1600 Hz. In the external auditory canal, the natural resonance is 3000 Hz. In the middle ear, 800 Hz, and ossicular chain, it is from 500 to 2000 Hz. So greatest sensitivity is between 500 to 3000 Hz. Middle ear cavity, it contains two muscles, tensor tympani muscle and the stapedius muscle. Tensor tympani muscle, it is attached to the neck of the malleus, and stapedius muscle, it is attached to the footplate of the stapes. Whenever we are exposed to the sudden loud sound, within 40 to 80 milliseconds of the latent period, there is contraction of the tensor tympani and stapedius muscle occurs. Contraction of the tensor tympani muscle increases tension over the tympanic membrane, and contraction of the stapedius muscle it moves the footplate of the stapes away from the oval window. Contraction of the both this muscle increases the rigidness of the ossicular chain, and by this manner it decreases the conduction of the sound waves from the tympanic membrane to the oval window. Thus, the attenuation reflex is a protective reflex and it decreases damage to the inner ear from loud sound. Now, the latent period is 40 to 80 milliseconds. So, whenever a sudden explosion occurs because of the bomb explosion, then within this short latent period, this loud sound it can damage the inner ear. So latent period of the 40 to 80 millisecond is necessary for the development of the attenuation reflex. Now the attenuation reflex it also attenuates low frequency sounds like the environmental sound, and it also prevents sound of the chewing. Physiology of hearing, it includes properties of sound waves, conduction of the sound wave in human ear, transduction of the sound energy into neural impulse, transmission of the neural impulse to the higher cortex, and central processing of the auditory information. At the end of this session, you have learned about the properties of the sound waves, and conduction of the sound energy in our ear. Sound is a form of energy that is produced by the compression and rarefaction of the air molecules. Sound is conducted through the pinna and external auditory canal, and the conduction of the sound wave up to tympanic membrane. It produces vibrations in the tympanic membrane, and this vibration they are transmitted through the ossicular chain which contains malleus, incus and stapes. There is 18 time magnification by the impedance matching mechanism which produces vibration of the fluid in the cochlea. So this movement of the fluid or the perilymph in the cochlea, it produces neural impulses, and these neural impulses they are carried by cochlear division of the vestibulocochlear nerve to the auditory cortex. In the next lecture, I will teach you about the transduction of the auditory impulses and central processing of the auditory information. Thank you.